consistency makes you dangerous. Now, that's probably a phrase that you might have heard a lot in the business advice realm, but it's also very applicable to your personal life. Now, this is kind of a reflection on my own personal life that I have, and these realizations are kind of me looking back at my past 2 years. And what I realized is for a long time, I have believed that making erratic, spontaneous decisions would keep the power on my side because I made the decision. Like I hold the power because I get to choose what I want to do each time. That being said, I think it's very clear why consistency is good for business. If you just consistently deliver great work, you're going to be considered reliable, which also means you can charge higher prices and live a better life. But in the personal life, for some reason, I still had this belief where, somebody would invite me to go somewhere and it would always be, my decision would always be swayed by what mood I was in. And so then now looking back, as I have tried to be more consistent, I've realized that instead of actually having the power, what I did is I just gave the power to my emotions. But that also means that I'm no longer in control. My emotions are. And on top of that, the other person can see like, oh, he's making the decisions based on the emotions. So that also means if I just make him emotional enough, I can sway his decision in one way. And realizing that, I was like, okay, it's so contradictory. It doesn't make sense. It's like being rigid makes you more dangerous. It gives you more power. Like making the same decision each time, it gives you more power. Like it's actually, you would almost think that it contradicts itself, but in reality, it actually works. Like even if you took weight loss, for example, if each time you chose to eat the same thing, and stick to your plan, instead of, oh, I don't feel like eating it today. When you do stick to the meal plan, what ends up happening is you just end up losing the weight, or you end up looking the way that you want to, or you gain muscle, whatever your goal is. And so it actually translates into all realms of life. And the big downside is basically the fact that it creates a certain type of friction with interpersonal relationships, because obviously if somebody calls you at 9 p.m., hey, you want to go hang out, and you have a bedtime at 9 p.m., it's like, you create that friction between you and your friend who's inviting you. But it also creates a certain type of respect, because after like 20 times that you're like, no, dude, I can't, like I'm working, or like I have a bedtime that I have to be in bed by. Like that rigidity projects respect, which, and to me personally, all of the upside that I got from this, and the downside of like having a little bit of friction with relationships, like the upside completely covers the downside. So for me, it makes sense. But yeah, it makes you more dangerous. It makes you more respected, and it's not just in business; it's also in personal life. Be more consistent, and you will be more respected, and you will be more in demand. You will be considered more high value.